Yeah, right. This is Michael Holding, the author, not the cricketer. Today, I'm going to talk drugs. And I mean big time drugs. The sort we saw in Underbelly. And that's going back. That was a good show. I know nothing when it comes to drugs. I know they're destroying lives. I know that matters. I think that I might be a bit naive because I can't tell if people are on drugs. I just think they're sick. The coppers are doing a good job. Well, they're doing a job, but I think it's the courts that are letting them down. Just like the series of Underbelly. Lawyers are doing a copper's weekly wage in a couple of hours. How do you fix that? How would I know? But I did create, a few years back, a series of books called James Roxby. The first book's called Focus. And Focus is the name of the police squad that James Roxby works for. Welcome to the podcast. This isn't polished detective fiction. It's a story about what happens when the legal system stops frightening criminals and the people enforcing the law begin looking for another solution. The novel opens in the small country town of Durrell. A quiet police shift handover, nothing unusual. Then Roxby returns to the police barracks and immediately senses something is wrong. The door is unlocked. His fellow officer Charlie Simmons stands frozen in the hallway with a gun pressed to his head. The intruder orders Roxby to drop his weapon. Instead, Roxby calmly drinks from his stubby before shooting the man dead. But Charlie dies in the exchange. And from that point, the story never really slows down. What makes James Roxby interesting is that he's not written like a superhero. He's practical, detached, calculating. The novel reveals his background gradually. Born in Italy as Giacomo Rossarino, he migrates to far north Queensland with his family on a tobacco farm near Mareeba. He later joins the army and eventually enters the SAS. The military section feels authentic and grounded. There's no glamour, just exhaustion, discipline and survival. And when Roxby leaves the SAS after a serious injury, that mindset follows him directly into policing. The Melbourne he enters is ugly. Drug syndicates, corruption, career criminals, walking free because expensive lawyers know how to dismantle police cases. Slowly, Roxby becomes disillusioned. Not loudly, but quietly. The dangerous kind of disillusionment, where a man begins believing that legality and justice are two different things. And that's when he and a fellow ex-SAS operator, Jerry Carter, are approached by Australian Federal Police Commander Damien Burgess. He's simply known as Damo. He's tattooed, rough, more bikey than a bureaucrat, and completely unconcerned with appearances. Damo recruits them into a covert AFP unit called Focus, Federal Operative Covert Urban Suppression. Officially, it barely exists. Unofficially, it's a death squad. This is where the novel becomes morally confronting, because Focus does not build legal cases. Focus does not wait for courts. Focus identifies criminal threats and removes them permanently. And the frightening part isn't the violence, it's how the arguments start sounding. The criminals are guilty. The courts keep failing. The police are overwhelmed. So the novel constantly pushes the reader into uncomfortable territory. If the system can no longer protect society, what replaces it? And who gets trusted with that power? The undercover sections are especially strong. Roxby and Jerry receive fake identities. They receive Harleys, burner phones and concealed pistols before moving into a rundown St Kilda duplex. Their first target is Melbourne's illegal tobacco trade, and the detail feels authentic throughout. The surveillance, the waiting, the watching, the trying not to make mistakes. This isn't Hollywood undercover work. Most of it involves sitting quietly and building trust until eventually the trail leads somewhere much bigger. The writing style itself is also very Australian. Dry humour, understatements, quiet menace. Nobody gives dramatic speeches. Characters discuss violent operations over beer and steak, like they're planning fence repairs. And somehow that makes it more believable, more unsettling, because it feels real. At its core, Focus is about systems failing. The military shapes Roxby into a weapon. The legal system frustrates him. Policing disappoints him. And Focus offers him clarity. Terrible clarity. No appeals, no loopholes, just outcomes. And the novel keeps asking whether men trained for war can ever truly return to ordinary society, or whether they simply carry the war into new environments. Now, this book won't be for everyone. It's violent, it's cynical, and it's morally dark. But if you enjoy hard-edged Australian thrillers, covert operations, bikie infiltration stories, and anti-hero policing fiction, Focus is likely to pull you in very, very quickly, because James Roxby is never entirely comfortable to follow. You understand him. Sometimes you even agree with him. And then you realise that agreement might actually be the frightening part. Focus opens the door to a very dark version of Australian covert policing. And once you enter that world, the exit signs disappear fairly quickly. This is Michael Holding, the author, not the cricketer. And thanks for listening.